Hey, what is going on, guys? So, this is gonna be a video for you on how to defeat Real Madrid. So, this one is going to be a challenge that you will have to complete. So, let's get going. So, this challenge awards you 500k coins. You have to build a minimum 85 overall team that should have three Atletico de Madrid players, and also you will start this challenge as one goal down. So Real Madrid would have a goal, you would have no goals, and you would start in the second half. So that's at the 45-minute mark. So you'll have 45 minutes to earn 500k coins, and you'll have to score at least two goals to win, or maybe one goal to draw, and then you play into extra time. So I think ideally, if you're watching a YouTube video like this for this particular challenge, you should not take the game into extra time, but okay. So this one, we didn't go into extra time. How did we do this match? Well, that's what we are about to discuss here. So Real Madrid, some study that I have done on Real Madrid is that the formation they are using is a 4-3-3 holding. So what does holding mean? It means they have a center defensive mid. So they have Casemiro, one of the strongest defensive mids, I believe, in football there is. And I mean, this is a huge team. We have Benzema, Cruz, Modric, Alaba, even Courtois as the goalkeeper would give you a lot of trouble. But the main problem that I see with a lot of these icon journey matches is that these defenders are just way too tough to beat. So if you just go in there with a random formation, you think you will just be able to, you know, step over them. You can't. These defenders are just very good at blocking your shots. They are very great at positioning themselves, and you'll just have to outsmart them. So how did I outsmart Real Madrid? Well, the best formation to use against a 4-3-3 holding is actually a 3-5-2. But since this is Real Madrid and they sort of have a 110 overall, as you see, my team just has a 92 overall. They have a 110 overall, which means that they are going to be solid in attacking as well. And not only you have to score, but you also have to defend the counter attacks. And these icons are neat lineups. They are, especially this one, especially this 96 Casillas. The whole road for this icon journey. All of the teams are just very good in counter-attacking. So for this reason, I decided to not drop a defender. I decided to go in with a 4-5-1 formation. So this is my formation. These are the players I used. Again, not huge, incredible players. Now this center attacking mid I have to use because you have a condition that you need to have three Atletico de Madrid players in your team, um, which is okay. As soon as the match starts, I can just swap him for my main CAM. Uh, which I do actually. Sorry, not this one. Actually, I swap in this one. You'll see in the video what I mean by this. So why am I using a 4-5-1 against this 4-3-3? Okay, so generally, if you look at the 4-3-3, you will notice some spaces along the wings. And that is what you have to exploit because when you are using just three center midfielders, that means you do not have a left mid and a right mid. So both of your wings are kind of open. This means that you are just relying on your left back and your right back to protect the wing, to support with the attack, to defend the counter attack. And that is just too much for these players to handle. Also, you want your center mids to do a lot of work because they have to take care of the midfield, they have to take care of the wings. There's just too much. This is very tiring. It's a very tiring formation. But a 4-3-3 formation is all about keeping possession on the ball and attacking. A 4-3-3 is the one of the deadliest formations to face if they have the possession. So as long as they keep the ball with them, it's very hard to defend against a 4-3-3 because it's a very attacking formation, and that's why they're using a variation. So Real Madrid, they have this defensive mid Casemiro, is going to be very hard to counter. But let's see what we do. So we use a 4-5-1, and the reason why we use a 4-5-1 is because we want to counter this defensive mid with two of our own attacking midfielders. So the only reason why we have these two attacking midfielders is because we want to create a 2v1 situation on Casemiro. And how do we do it? Well, so this is the formation. So on the left side, the blue team is the 4-3-3. That's the Real Madrid. On the right side is my team, TTV. So how do you really counter it? Well, we have the 4-5-1. So normally you can say that it's a 4-3-2-1, but it's a 4-5-1 with just two midfielders that are moved off. So it's not a normal 4-5-1. I would just like to tell you, like, you do not have just five midfielders. You have actually two midfielders that are attacking in attacking positions. So it's could be said to be a 4-3-2-1, but it's a 4-5-1 according to the game. So anyway, well, even if these two midfielders you take them back, right? That's totally fine. So let me just select this. So even if you take these two midfielders back, that's totally fine. So how do you plan on exploiting this sort of situation? Well, basically the key idea is, let's say you have the ball here, you keep on passing the ball, you create these sort of triangles. You have a triangle here, you have a triangle here, you have a triangle here, you have a triangle here. You have a lot of these triangle formations where you would try to dominate the opposition. So let us just get rid of the ball for now. We'll bring the ball later. So imagine the match starting, right? I mean, imagine this sort of the center striker takes his position here. Now, normally, what the main problem is that you have this defensive midfielder continuously marking your striker, due to which it's very hard to pass the ball, because let's say you do not have an attacking midfielder, you have normal midfielders. So this six would drop, this seven would drop, and now how do you really pass the ball is the question. So let's say you have the ball with him. How do you really pass the ball, because this is going to be blocked, and then you just play some stupid passes like this. You try to change the wing, but it just doesn't help you much in this sort of scenario. So okay, well, okay, so back to the starting position. How a 4-5-1 helps you is that, let's say, let's just take the ball away for the moment. Let's say you have this number one placed here. Now you have these attacking midfielders who would sort of create a triangle with a striker. And now this defensive midfielder is sort of overloaded, because it's very hard for him to mark this striker and these two attacking midfielders. Now there's no way that this player alone can stop all of these passes. So, I mean, these two passes are just incredibly hard for him to stop. He can stop one, but not like two. Also you can have this 4, 5, and 6 stepping up, which sort of just creates more of these chains of passes. But you get the idea, right? The idea is to overload this defensive midfielder. So you are overloading their number five. That's the defender, not the defender, actually the defensive midfielder, with two of your own attacking midfielders. So that's the idea. And also, you only need one central striker, because you have these center backs and you have some spaces between the center backs which you are looking to exploit. So this is also a weakness of the 4-3-3. Now we'll come to it as to what the weaknesses of the 4-3-3 are. So this is basically the idea of what you are looking to do. And also, one more thing I would like to point out here is that, let's say, you kind of are in this position. Okay, you kind of are in this position. So I mean, this position is very hard to achieve, but let's say the center back is marking you down now, because obviously he would. So what you can do is simply pass this ball to one, ask your three to sort of step forward. So this guy would step back, your three would step forward, pass the ball to two, ask your one to step forward. So this guy would definitely step back. You two can now come forward, and now you can either just directly take this shot if you would like, but it's going to be very hard for this center back to cover both. If he's trying to mark one down, then two gets the shot. If he's trying to mark two down, then you basically pass the ball to one again, and then one could deliver the finishing blow. So it's kind of very hard for this center back to deal with everything alone, and that is the reason why you have. So you just, any formation you would like to use, guys, is make sure you have those two attacking midfielders. Very crucial against the 4-3-3. That's what you're trying to do, and you'd see this in the match, how we actually do it. But okay, what about the second possibility? Like, what if this 4-3-3, the aggressive formation, the most deadly formation, decides to attack you? Well, that's no issue. Also, one more thing that I forgot to mention. Okay, let's mention it in the counter attack. So let's say this 4-3-3, they decide to attack you, right? So this is how they would be positioned ideally, I guess. So these two center midfielders maybe placed somewhat here. And now again, this guy maybe placed there. And now the problem with the attacking 4-3-3 is that one of this. So because the defensive midfielder always has to stay back to mark down the striker, right? So one of these fullbacks. So on whichever wing you attack, the fullback has to step forward in order to help, because as with just three midfielders it becomes very hard to sort of carry the ball all over to your striker, because this four can mark this guy down. And I mean, let's say the ball is with seven, right? So you can just stop the pass to 10, and I mean, number six can just guard this pass. And now what do you do if three is marking you down? So seven has like a 1v3 situation here where he's surrounded by three, four, and six, and he has no available passes. So this is not a situation the 4-3-3 would like to be in. And that is the reason why you need this one to step forward, so that seven has an extra opportunity to pass to number one, so that if he gets stuck, he can just bail out by passing. Um, okay, so let's give the ball back to number seven. Okay, so let's say they push. Okay, obviously this means you go back. Let's say seven decides to push forward. Now three falls back, eight would fall back. So if 10 pushes, then four will cover this. Now eight can actually step up to stop seven, or he can fall because eight is free here. Like four is stopping the pass to 10. Eight is kind of free, so he can step up, he can step back. The goalkeeper can kind of just step in here. I mean, a lot of things can happen. This seven and eight both can pressure. So a lot of things can happen, but that's not what we are here for. We are here for like what happens in the counter attack. So in the counter attack, let's say your eight steps up. So obviously this nine would have to go here, this one would have to go here to cover this. Now the six can actually just mark this guy down. The seven can actually step in here, cover the seven and nine. So imagine in any sort of tackling scenario, the seven loses possession of the ball and your eight has a position now. What you would notice is that there is a huge space on this whole wing. So this whole sort of wing has a large empty space where no blue players are protecting it. And this is something you can exploit. So eight can simply, all eight has to do here is to simply pass the ball to number three. Or like a textbook scenario would be if this nine is even forward, trying to attack, then eight could simply pass the ball to seven, six could go up, and then seven could do a long cross to six, and now six could run down the wing with a possibility of a cross to one and then a goal. So I mean, this is a very ideal case scenario. But normally, I mean, eight could either pass to the left back, or he could just pass directly to this number three, and this number three could pass to one. He could step up. One could give it back to two, and one could step up, and then two could give it back to one, and then two could step up. And this is how you would deal with the attack. But basically, the basic fundamental idea that you have for the counter attack is that there is a huge empty space on whichever wing is attacking. Because the 4-3-3, just the way this sort of works, they need a defender, a left back, or a right back, basically a wing back. Shouldn't call it a wing back, but okay, you get the idea. So they need this number one or this number four to sort of push forward, as their a striker or their center midfielder would just get zoned out with all of these three or four. So as soon as this one steps forward, or as soon as this four steps, so if one steps forward, the other wing will definitely stay behind. So this is the wing you have to counter attack. So at this point, you have to make the decision whether you would like to, as to how you would like to exploit this open space. So you can either send your six up and then pass it to him, or instead you could just decide, okay, your six can run down while your three can actually take this space. And either way is fine. So this is what we actually did against Real Madrid. So let me just play the match. And during the match, we will definitely pause the game and definitely talk about what are the things that are going. I would definitely rewind the video as well, because let's actually not pause it in the first run. Let's actually let you witness the first one, and then we will pause and we'll talk about it. So the game is starting. Again, we have Luis Suarez, my main striker. So at this point, I would like to pause just because I'll be taking these player names very frequently. So remember, my central striker is Suarez. Foden is my left side cam. Uh, we have Matthews as my right side camp. Gerrard is my center mid. Son is my left mid. Saka is the right mid. And again, these backs won't take much of their names, which you can just note Carles Puyol, Burn, all of that stuff. So just remember the mids and the strikers. So Suarez does the back pass. Again, you have your goalkeeper. Now, I mean, it depends. You can play it however you like. I like to play on the bottom wing because that's closer to my home screen. And so let us actually explore this commentary. Okay, so at this point, okay, just pay attention, and then I would rewind the video and talk about what happened here. Okay, so this is a goal as soon as the match starts. So like at 45 minutes, when the match starts, you are down 0-1, and your first objective with this sort of matchup is to equalize, the goal count. Because if you equalize before 90 minutes, at least you would get a chance to go into extra time and then score against Real. It's very hard to score against Real Madrid though. But okay. So what I do here, again, the theme that we talked about is how you would, sort of overpower the defensive mid, take him into a position where he just couldn't defend against both of your attackers and your striker. So both of your attacking mids. So notice what I do. I mean, this is all standard stuff. Like it doesn't need to be done. I was just trying to be very fancy here. So notice what I do. Again, the wings are very weak for the 4-3-3. So at this point, Sun passes down to Sepon. Sepon shoves it back to Gerrard. At this point, notice, at this point, I have a very dominant position. At this point, I think it's almost a goal. Because the reason is this defensive mid Casemiro, he is not really blocking any of the passes. So at this point, look at Suarez. Like he is in such a dominant position that he could actually pass the ball to both of these attacking mids. So both of the players that I have are not being intercepted. However, I decide to pass it to the player at the top, just because the player at the bottom looks that the white guy could sort of intercept at some point. So I just decide to pass it to the top. And now look at what Suarez does. Again, Suarez was the one who just passed the ball. So look at what Suarez does. This is what I was talking about. You pass, and then your player has to make a run for it. And so look at what Suarez does. He goes and goes and goes. He gives the signal. He gives the hand signal, and he's still giving the hand signal, and he goes. And now you are passing it to your deepest attacking mid. And now Suarez is gonna make a run to occupy this central space. So you notice how big of a space we have. Between the center backs. We have a huge space, and now Suarez is in that space. So we have a huge space between the center backs. Suarez is in that space, and Son just has to cross it to Suarez, and then it's a goal. So at this point, what most players would do is that they would try to, not get over aggressive. But this is the position where you have to actually make that pass. You have to actually deliver that ball to Suarez because he is in such a great position. So when your players are going for it, when your players are making a run, giving you those hand signals, always take them. So Suarez does get the ball, and this is an easy score after that. So there's nothing that could be done. Okay, so we didn't even allow Real Madrid to touch the ball up until this point. And this is just how, you notice this defensive mid was sort of so much overloaded. He just couldn't do anything to defend against, he just couldn't defend against two attacking midfielders at the, unless you are you have very poor skills. Okay, so that's the first goal, and Casemiro back to Rodrigo. So Rodrigo dribbles the ball down, and at this point you just have to do not get over aggressive. Just stay back, because at some point they would do a mistake. So at this point I did make a mistake, and I'm not really doing anything to stop this Mendy from passing the ball to one of their centers, which is bad. But at this point again, I'm in that situation where if I try to stop that pass, then most probably he's going to run down the wing. So at this point, yes, at this point, this guy, Vinicius, what's his name, Vinicius Junior. So at this point, he just doesn't have any option. So like he can only make one pass, so one obvious pass, and as soon as you notice your opponent is forced into one obvious pass, you have to intercept, and you intercept, and you take the ball away. And now Gerard and Son again. You notice how the wings, how there's so how do you actually do this counter? How do you actually? Uh, okay, so I rewinded it. We are going in. So at the point I took possession back, I would pause, and then we would talk about it. So I took the position back. At this point, you have to decide. Now, notice at the minimap on the bottom of the screen. At this point, you have to ask yourself, okay, where's the space in the field? Now, I notice a huge space in sort of like the upper wing, which I should have exploited. But again, none of my players are actually in commanding positions to exploit this. So which means I'll have to just go around, and I'll have to just go where my players are. But like upper wing would have been ideal. Like if one of my players would have been in a position where a cross pass could be taken, that would have been huge. I think at this point I could have done it, but I sort of decided not to. So I should have done it. So that's a mistake. So again, don't do what I do. Do what I say, because that's going to be the best. So Ford and Son. I mean, so we are going down the lower wing. So this shouldn't have happened. But okay, Suarez is taking the ball. So at this point, Suarez notices he's gonna get zoned out. I have to get the ball back because there's no attack really at this point. So I'm just shuffling the ball, just looking for an opportunity, and I get the opportunity here, but the ball goes out. So it's a throw in. Okay. So we're trying to take the possession back again. Sun makes a run for it, but no. So Suarez is trying to defend, but nothing is really happening here. And okay, so Forden tries to step over, tries to do some tackles, and he finally managed to get it. So at this point again, you notice. So I'll stop wherever I get the tackle and wherever I get the position back. Okay, so I get the position back here. At this point, the theme I was talking about, the 4-3-3, the wing that is pushing. Now notice how many of their players they have. So they have a huge open space again. And at this point, I could easily, just decide to make a run for it. So if at this point my center mid wants, he could just easily decide to, run all the length across the pitch, just run towards the goal. But the problem with this, or the reason why this is not possible, is because they are a 110 overall team. But if this was a versus or a head-to-head match, this was definitely possible. But okay, so I still try to I still try to run down the wing, but notice how he just absolutely blocks me. He's just about to block me, but because he decides to step forward. Now I have an open pass. Okay, so at this point, I have a passing opportunity to Suarez. So I give it to Suarez. Now again, Suarez doesn't have any attacking options, so he has to pass back to Gerard. And again, Suarez is running for it. Gerard passes to the other attacking midfielder, and he passes it to Saka. And now at this point, I would like you to see as to what really happens. So with the what really happens with the wing. So just notice this white dot that I have on the upper wing. uh, Basically it's a right midfielder that I have, but just notice what is happening. He is taking an aggressive position. So the center back and the defense, the trio of this, so two center backs and the defensive midfielder, they are too busy to defend against my attacking midfielder here and my striker, because they just have to defend against these two. And so my right mid is just uncontested in this area. And you just have to notice for those open spaces. And this formation just allows you to exploit all of these weaknesses with the 4-3-3 formation. So that is going to be the second goal. And that is going to be the good game against Real Madrid here. Already, like 45 minutes is where we started. We are like at 70th minute, at 70th mark. So just 25 minutes into the game. Um, Okay, so again, Rodrigo, Casemiro, Rodrigo. It's back to Rodrigo. He's showing me some dribbling moves. Which is okay. Now this is looking a really aggressive attack, but okay, Carles Puyol does decide. I mean, I don't know why Casemiro decided to just give it back to Carles Puyol. But okay, so again, I'm shuffling because this was not a attack that I stopped. So I decided to just hold the ball. I'm already 2-1 up. There's no reason to press, so I decided to just hold the ball again, deciding to step on the wing, but just the defender they have, the left back, he's just not allowing this. He's just not letting me run down the wing, which is okay. He's acting like a left wing back. But again, so you should notice how Gerrard defends this. Absolutely, you know, just amazing stuff. And Suarez did want to pass it to Gerrard, but that didn't connect. But now Gerrard takes the ball away. He does an open fake shot, and this is a goal. And so this is basically, I would say, this is all individual skill at this point. Like this was not, this third goal was not something you could have, really strategized. It was just individual skill how he, beat those two defenders and he scored the goal. So let's look at it again. So we have Gerrard makes a run. I notice it with Foden, but I decide to pass it to Gerrard, but for some reason he doesn't receive the pass. And now he does an open fake shot, dodges both the defenders and beats the goalkeeper, which is just huge. He's a 92 icon. And that's why we are playing this challenge, right? To get the 96 goalkeeper, Casillas. That would be a very valuable player, I would say, to have on your team. But that's the third goal against Real Madrid. It's already 85 minutes, so you just have to pass your time for the remaining 5 minutes. But I see that I do have some aggressive options. Again, Foden doesn't get the possession. So, okay, it's already 89 minutes and we are just waiting for the game to get over. The Sun does take the ball away. He passes it to Suarez. Suarez does have the position. This is looking very aggressive, but, a 3v1. So, my team is not really pushing forward. And just the way the AI works, I'm not sure. But, like, my team is not really pushing forward to help support the attack at this point. I think they just want to defend the score lead. And that's how you defeat Real Madrid. And when you do that, I mean, this challenge has a difficulty level of extreme. It really was difficult. Atletico is going to be much more difficult. So 500k coins is going to be your reward. Once you do that, this is a Centro, and we'll look forward to meeting you guys again soon.